Just talking during the break with Julian Edelman, 3-time Super Bowl champ, 12 NFL seasons. He was talking about Brady skiing. So when you retired, is there anything now you do? Because Tom couldn't do that when he played.
Yeah.
Is there anything now you do that you didn't do as a player?
Yeah, snowboard.
What do you do?
Yeah, I grew up snowboarding. I was a Northern California kid. I used to go to Tahoe every year. And as soon as I went to Ohio for Kent State, I didn't snowboard until then. And then as soon as I retired, I went down and went to Aspen and snowboarded for the first time, like riding a bike.
Really? Never forgot it.
No, but it was crazy because the last time I was snowboarding, I was probably like 165 pounds and doing, you're like a little gymnast kid. Now I'm like 200 pounds. I was like, oh, this is a lot different.
You're moving more inventory.
Oh, my knee, I can feel that rotation. Yeah. Oh, the ankles aren't as flexible.
So we go into the playoffs here in a week. Do you miss the intensity of that?
Yes. Yeah, you miss that because the urgency and that corner animal mentality kind of just shoots through the roof because the game is in the playoffs. Like I always explain this to people. When you get to preseason, you do training camp. Training camp, first day of pads, you guys hit. It's faster than when you don't have pads. Then you have that first preseason game against a guy that you haven't been practicing against for 2 weeks, and it's just that much faster. And then you get to the regular season when you shape the team, and it's like, all right, this is pro football. And then you get to the playoffs, and each round of the playoffs, it just shoots through the roof because you got guys that are leaving everything on the field. I mean, you either win or you go home. So, there's a lot of calculated risk in the regular season. You play for your money in the regular season. Right. You play for your name in the postseason.
It's interesting because I think of your dynasty, and I think of those Raven games where I thought Baltimore had a little more talent. Mm-hmm. Just a little more, and you beat them a lot. Yeah. And I think, not in much as steel, I think of the Peyton Manning matchups. And I don't get nervous watching sports very often, but you were like, you could palpable. I'd be like, oh, Peyton looks he didn't like this snow. Mm-hmm. He didn't like it. So we were talking about this. A lot of the dynasties have been Pittsburgh cold weather, New England cold weather. The teams that win, San Francisco Bay weather, Green Bay, Philly. You start looking at cold. This weekend in the Northeast, if Miami had to go play up in that crap, it'd be like, did you guys feel as a northern team, when you'd see a dome team come up, when you'd see Miami come up, did you feel like this is ours?
Yeah. We practiced in the elements, whether it was raining, pouring.
Always?
Always. Bill, put your it on and get outside. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he would say. He goes, it's snowing. I'm letting you know it's snowing. Put your stuff on and let's go. It's a good opportunity for you to take advantage of this situation of being in the weather, which we play in weather. And, whenever you had it, like whenever we would play those Denver teams when we were going to Denver, playing against Peyton Manning. No, we were praying. It was when Peyton Manning was in Denver. We were praying that it was going to be a snowstorm, windy. And every time we played them, they beat us twice there. It was 75 and sunny in January. And we're like, God damn, but we were very acclimated to weather, and we did feel like we had an advantage anytime we played a team that wasn't used to weather in weather.
So I had said this with Belichick, he and Kraft meet Monday, that Bill is intimidating. He's got the bag. He's got the legacy. I don't know if he can work with a young offensive coach. I think you work under Bill, and Bill sort of sets the tone at practice, games, personnel. So to me, you're either going to stay with Bill or you got to rip the Band-Aid off. But the idea you can bring in a bunch of young guys and Bill's going to be like, oh, yeah, tell me who to draft. That doesn't feel like Bill. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. This is going to be an interesting situation. I heard your take. Bill's notorious for cutting guys a year, 2, 3 before they're out of their prime.
That's his thing.
And Bill's the first one to tell you that this is a production business. That's what he told us every time. I mean, I remember going in and negotiating with him on my last deal. He goes, "What do you want?" I go, "I want 20 for the next 2." He goes, "Jules, I just won Super Bowl MVP." And he goes, "Look, Jules, you're 33 years old, 32 years old. You're coming off an ACL. Like, I can't give you that." Like, that's the kind of guy he is. So this is going to be a very tough conversation because they're both going to lay out their points. Mr. Kraft and Jonathan are probably going to say, look at what we've done here in this situation, or this side of the ball, or this whatever. He's going to have his, and it's going to have to come out somewhere in between, and hopefully they could do it professionally, because they both needed both of each other for such a long time, and it's been such a great thing for such a long time. You just hope it's handled properly.
I was saying this, that outside of Brady, but even Brady was felt like a team guy, is that the playoffs, star quarterbacks tend to do well. You have an advantage. But there is sort of a working class ethos to the playoffs where fewer turnovers win, better tackling wins. Like I look at Baltimore and I'm like, they're just hard. Baltimore's hard, and they've done it with a star quarterback. And I do think I look at them and I just feel like that's a hard physical team. That's the best team I've seen. Not just results, but I always felt with New England, you were all hard. There was a lot of overachievers, and the word I'm using is wrong, but the playoffs is a lot of testing a man's soul. The weather sucks. Practice is hard. Everybody's kind of hurt. Everybody's and I think Baltimore's a hard but great team, and I think it matters now. Am I crazy talk or
no? The one thing that I get scared with Baltimore is that they get bored with teams sometimes. Like they lose 2 or 3 games a year that they have no business losing, and then they go and do what they did against San Francisco and blow them out. They're one of those teams where they could start kind of slow. They miss on a third down, or they don't have a good red area plan for that specific opening drive, and then all of a sudden a team jumps out on them. Or last year against Miami, where they were beating up Miami, they came back. I feel like they just get bored sometimes, and they get lack of focusy. I think that's the only thing that can really stop them. I do think San Francisco losing to them the way they did was a great thing for San Francisco.
That's what I thought.
When you get to see Lamar in person, I mean, it's good to have that on film. You get to go car on car when you're preparing for the next time, as we would say. Same cars, different license plate. Now you get the same cars. You get film of your guys on their guys, schemes, and you can do a whole lot with that. So I think that was a good thing, but it's definitely Baltimore's to lose.
Does pressure matter? Now, again, it's funny because you guys were so efficient in big games. And when I watched the college games this week, I could see how nervous Michigan was. They looked, that first pass, and I'm thinking, they're 19-year-old kids. How do you avoid, and you were often a home favorite, how do you avoid nerves and anxiety?
You lean on your preparation. Whenever I would get nervous individually before a game, which I would get nervous every game, I would just get on my tip sheet. Our coach would make us a tip sheet of the play call sheet. You go over and you just kind of,
explain what it is.
A tip sheet is pretty much your call sheet. It has all the boxes of what your first and second down plays are, your third down plan, your red area plan, your 4-point play plan, your 2-minute plan before half, your 2-minute plan before end the game, just to kind of get your mind in condition for when the situation pops. I already knew what the play was coming because of what we practiced that week. Then it allows me to think on my opponent and how do I make my job better for that specific play. So I would always lean on that, just kind of cramming before the test, so to say, whenever I was nervous. And whenever you had a great week of prep, it always showed on the game film.
These games are all decided by a play. I go back to a game in which I think it was third quarter. You threw a touchdown pass. You were out in the flat. And I saw Detroit the other day against Dallas did a fake punt. And I've always wondered this because you occasionally would be part of a huge trick play in a crisis moment late in the third. And I always think to myself, when you break the huddle, how do you not have a tell like in poker? This is the game. How did you think about a lot of times, okay, this play could happen. It will be the biggest play in the game. You knew going against Baltimore, the game's going to be close.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a shootout. You know what the game's going to be. This is going to be the moment. You pass it one time. I don't even know if you can pass in warm-ups because they're looking at you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I would always, so with that play in the game plan, I would always play catch with Brady before the series. So I would always dial in and try to get a couple warm-ups in. But that was a huge thing. Originally, I was going to take off my glove because I didn't like throwing with the glove on. But then, if I take off my glove, there's something up. You never know. And so, yeah, you would try to make everything be as normal as possible. We used to have with those kind of plays or a double move route or a double move. We always used to have this thing. You got to be like Pacino. You have to be a great actor. You got to be a great actor. It was one thing that me and Brady always used to say, like, Jules, Pacino. If I was doing like a slow go, you know what I mean? Make them eat the slant first, right. Or in these trick plays, you got to make everything. There's a little acting involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So as hot seat, we have all these coaches. I was saying McCarthy's funny. Our staff has this. If you put Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh's history up, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, division titles, winning everything. The difference is Mike was in Green Bay where you don't have an owner, which is weird. It's cool to have an owner. Go up to Robert Kraft and say, we need an edge rusher. We got to write a check. Green Bay didn't have that. Now he's in Dallas with a little bit of a meddling owner. Harbaugh's had Steve Bisciotti's one of the 5 owners in the league that's one of the grown-ups. And so, but it's funny, if Harbaugh loses he wins a playoff game and loses, nobody's firing Harbaugh. But if McCarthy doesn't win his second, let's say he beats Green Bay at home, goes to Detroit and loses, McCarthy's on the hot seat. And I'm like, isn't he Harbaugh? What's the difference? I mean,
Dallas Cowboys.
So you think it's just that? It
is definitely just that. I mean, we're on Fox. We talk about the Cowboys every day, baby. This is America's team. There's the lights shine a little brighter when you're in Dallas, when you're the quarterback and the head coach. That's just how it goes. And for people to say, well, Harbaugh won a Super Bowl with the team he's with right now. For whatever reason, McCarthy's never won a Super Bowl in Dallas. Yeah. Dallas hadn't been to a Super Bowl in 30 years since Michael Irvin retired.
Yeah.
That's a long time for, the most valued sports organization in the world. So, it's tough. Being the Dallas Cowboys head coach, it's kind of like being a Notre Dame head coach. It's one of those destination spots. Or what else? Ohio State. Look at it. They're about to fire their coach who's got 4 losses in his career. I mean, there's certain brands where you have to win, and if you don't, you're on the hot seat.
Did you ever think about this? I don't make as much money as I could make other places. I could play in better weather. Mm-hmm. State tax in Massachusetts eats up. Was there ever a moment, despite your success, you thought, Miami's I'm getting old. I'd feel way. Did you ever have a moment that you thought about other places and thought, man, that guy's making that? Nobody in New England got overpaid.
No, because, at free agent times of my career, teams that were interested in me that, were offering more money or something along those lines, like, what are you going to go and have a new coaching staff in 2 years? Like, the security, the familiarity, the message of what the mindset was for the organization was something that, like, I didn't want to leave. And by the time you're in your 9th, 10th year, like, do I want to go learn a new playbook? Do I want to go? It's a lot of work. You then become a rookie again. You got to get the flashcards out. You got to learn the personnel groups. You got to learn because I only played in one system. I didn't know the number system. I didn't know the West Coast system. You're sitting here and, like, it's not a lot, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot where you want to be a technician. You know what I mean? So I didn't really think about it. The older you got with the practice, that's when it was hard. When
Bill runs you.
Yeah, it's January in practice. You just had a knee scope, and it's 21 degrees with the wind chill of 8, and you don't have the heaters outside on practice. You don't get the jackets outside for practice. It's like, it's miserable. I remember as a rookie, you go in there, you wouldn't wear sleeves. You'd be a tough guy. By the end, I mean, I was looking like the little kid Randy from the Christmas Story, all snowed up. It was nuts.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.